In a small riverside town, where mornings began with the sound of birds and the soft flow of water, there lived a 24-year-old young man named Arov. The town was simple and peaceful. People knew each other by name, doors were rarely locked, and trust was something everyone valued deeply. Arov lived with his father, who owned a small dairy shop. It wasn't a big business, just a modest place where they sold fresh milk to families in the town. Every morning before sunrise, Arov would wake up, fill large metal cans with milk, load them onto a small cart, and begin delivering to homes. The work was not easy. He had to walk long distances carrying heavy cans. In summer, the sun burned his skin. In winter, the cold winds made his hands stiff. Some days he returned home exhausted, his clothes wet with sweat. His father, however, always believed in honest work. "Son," he often said, "people trust us because our milk is pure. In business, trust is more valuable than money." Arov would nod, but deep inside he felt frustrated. He was young. He wanted more from life. He wanted success, respect, and comfort. When he saw other young men riding motorbikes, wearing nice clothes, and enjoying life, he felt like he was stuck. "Is this my whole life?" he would think. Carrying milk cans forever. One hot afternoon, while resting near the river after deliveries, a thought entered his mind. It started as a small idea, almost harmless. What if I add a little water to the milk? He looked at the milk cans quietly. If I add a bit of water, he thought, the quantity will increase. I can deliver more, finish faster, and earn the same money without extra effort. To him, it didn't feel like a big crime. Everyone does something like this, he told himself. It's not stealing. It's just working smart. The next morning, he tried it. Before leaving the shop, he quietly poured a little water into the milk cans and mixed it well. No one noticed. The milk looked the same. That day, he finished his deliveries earlier than usual. No one complained. The next day, he added a little more water. Still, no complaints. Days turned into weeks. Slowly, the habit became normal for him. Every morning, he mixed water with the milk. Sometimes a little, sometimes more. His father trusted him completely and never checked the cans. Arov began to feel clever. "See," he thought proudly, "why work harder when you can work smarter?" Then summer arrived. It was one of the hottest summers the town had ever seen. The river began to shrink. Wells started drying up. Clean water became difficult to find. People started saving every drop. But Arov continued his habit. Even when water became scarce, he still mixed it into the milk. He never imagined that this small shortcut could lead to something bigger. One morning, an announcement spread across the town. The town chief stood in the marketplace and said loudly, "During the upcoming festival, we will choose the supplier with the purest milk. That person will serve milk for the entire town during the celebration and receive a golden reward." The crowd buzzed with excitement. For a small supplier, this was a huge opportunity. Arov's heart started beating faster. "This is my chance," he thought. If he won, everyone would know his name. His father's shop would become famous. Maybe he could expand the business. Maybe even open a bigger dairy. Maybe finally buy that motorbike he always dreamed about. That night, he imagined a completely different future. But even then, he didn't stop adding water. Somewhere inside him, a quiet voice warned him. But he ignored it. The judges won't notice, he told himself. Everyone mixes a little. It will be fine. The festival day finally arrived. The town was alive with color. Decorations hung across the streets. Children ran around laughing. Music filled the air. Food stalls lined the marketplace, and people gathered from nearby villages as well. In the center of the market, a long wooden table had been set up. Several judges sat behind it. One by one, milk suppliers came forward with their samples. The judges carefully tasted each one. Some were too thin. Some had strange smells. Some were simply average. Arov waited in line, holding his container tightly. He felt nervous, but also confident. He had delivered milk to the town for years. No one had complained before. Finally, his turn came. He stepped forward and poured his milk into a bowl for the judges. The first judge lifted the bowl and took a sip. Suddenly, his expression changed. He frowned. The second judge tasted it too, then leaned closer to the chief and whispered something urgently. The third judge didn't even finish his sip. The crowd slowly became quiet. Arov felt his stomach tighten. Then the chief stood up. His voice was loud and serious. "This milk is spoiled. It has been mixed with dirty water. It is unsafe to drink." A wave of shock passed through the crowd. People began whispering, "Isn't that the milk from the dairy shop near the river? I buy milk from them every day. So he's been cheating us." The whispers felt like knives. Arov's face turned pale, and then his eyes found someone in the crowd. His father. He was standing quietly among the people. He didn't shout. He didn't scold. He just looked at Arov with deep disappointment. That silence hurt more than anything else. Arov felt like the ground had disappeared beneath his feet. That night, he couldn't sleep. The scene kept replaying in his mind. The judges' faces, the crowd's whispers, and most of all, his father's silent eyes. His shortcut had cost him everything. Not just the competition, not just the gold, but trust. The next morning, Arov woke up before sunrise. For a long moment, he stared at the milk cans. Then, he made a decision. No more shortcuts. That day, he filled the cans with pure, fresh milk. Not a single drop of water. The cans felt heavier than ever before. The road felt longer. The sun felt hotter. But for the first time in a long while, his heart felt lighter. Some customers were still angry. Some refused to buy from him. Some looked suspicious when he arrived. But Arov didn't complain. Day after day he continued delivering pure milk. Weeks passed, then months. Slowly, people began to notice the change. The milk was thick again, fresh again, honest again. Trust, once broken, is slow to return. But, little by little, it came back. One morning, an old customer said, "Your milk reminds me of the old days." Another said, "At least he learned his lesson." Even his father began to speak to him again with warmth. Arov never won a golden prize. He never became famous overnight. But he gained something much more valuable: respect. And once respect returns, opportunities slowly follow. The truth is simple. Life always gives back what we send into it. Our actions are like seeds. If we plant honesty, trust grows. If we plant effort, success grows. But if we plant dishonesty, sooner or later we must face the harvest. Shortcuts may save time today, but they can destroy tomorrow. So choose carefully, because life may be quiet, but it is always watching. And one day, it always returns what we give.